Resistance is futile.
Boldly going where no show has gone before. This is The Week in Geek with David D. Squared and Brian Held. Heard live on News Talk 99.5 WRNO and the iHeartRadio app. Here are your hosts, Brian Held and D. Squared.
Greetings, citizens of Earth. This is The Week in Geek, your source for geek and pop culture news that's trending now. I'm your agitated and freaked out host, D Squared, with
Brian
The game
Held.
is still on and I'm in the studio, Brian. I've got to get out.
Okay.
I've got to take over. I'll be right back.
No, Dave. All right, guys. Hey, we're going to lay out the show for you. We're going to start off with
This
top...
game won't end, Brian.
Yeah, stop. Come on, let's be serious, all right?
I am serious. You have no idea what you're messing with here.
We're going to do Top Nerd News.
We are?
Yes,
Okay.
and we're going to cover some local updates that we got. And then we have special in-studio guests that we're going to bring in second and third segment. And
I
then,
thought there was just guys that followed you in.
well, that happens on occasion, but no,
okay.
they have a good reason to be here. And then we're going to have the fourth segment is another guest interview that we did with New York Times and USA Today best-selling author
Pierce Brown. I remembered his name.
So let's go ahead and get to Top Nerd News.
Are you sure?
Yes.
I wasn't totally ready for that, but let's do it. And now, your top nerd news stories from around the world, brought to you by the Viridian Tea Company. Find them on Etsy. And now, your top nerd news story. There's 10 seconds left, and the Vikings have the ball on there like they're 20 or 30 right now. There's 10 seconds left in the fourth quarter.
All right.
If the Saints win, we go to the NFC Championship.
That's great.
That is great. That's top nerd news.
Sure. For all those football geeks out there who tune into our show.
All right, so what's leading us off, Brian?
Well, first off, I wanted to say thanks to the folks over at Crew de Fou. I was very honored to MC their Mardi Gras ball last night. We had an absolute blast out there.
You were dressed up as your old vampire character.
Oh, yeah, a little bit.
Yes, you were. I saw the jean jacket, Brian.
You like that?
The internet pictures don't lie.
I know, you're right. Also, there was a lot of stuff going on this weekend. I took Don Cooper down to the Moriel Convention Center yesterday, and they had the Halloween and Party Expo there, and that was a lot of fun. Also, MLG was back in town with their Call of Duty Open Invitational for their $200,000 league that's going on. So that was a lot of fun. We did get some...
The Vikings just scored a touchdown.
Oh, that's tough.
Game over.
Game over?
29-24.
So,
you keep talking.
I guess the Saints aren't going to the Super Bowl, Dave. Maybe now you'll focus on the show.
Nope. Now I'm just going to be dejected for the rest of the show. I'm
There
just
you
gonna
go.
Cry. Big crocodile tears.
So we did get some audio from Kevin Flynn that we'll play next week for the MLG Esports Worldwide. What else is going on? Dave, did you catch any of CES this week? The Consumer Electronics Show?
I did not.
A lot of crazy stuff out there. Of course, this is when we get our new technology right at the beginning of the year.
Right.
So a couple things of note. Samsung came out with a new product called the Wall. It's a 146-inch display.
What? For what?
Well, I mean, why go to the movies anymore, Dave, when you can just have an entire wall display your video content, right?
That's insanity.
No, it's good stuff.
Well, they had the roll-up TV last week. You roll it up, put it in your backpack, and just bring it everywhere you go.
Well, that's, I believe, from LG. It's a 46-inch television. And
So this apparently pales in comparison.
Well, right. I mean, because it's 146 inches. So also of interest is the Vuzix Blade augmented reality glasses. I didn't realize that Google Glass had kind of gone defunct, like they stopped developing that.
Did they really? They went to defunct?
Well, I mean, when you're talking about Google or a lot of these big tech companies, they'll put something out, develop it for a while, and then they'll just shelve it,
like
right?
the Wii U.
Yeah, I guess
Okay.
the Wii U kind of did get shelved. But these new augmented reality glasses are a step above what Google Glass presented us. They have a better full-screen display that you can see, a more integrated hidden camera type deal.
Okay.
And easy controls. It looks really good. I'm really kind of excited to see where that goes. The other thing that I thought was very interesting is Razer came out with this thing called Project Linda. It's a laptop, but where the trackpad would normally be
right.
is a slot for a Razer phone.
Why?
Well, because you can
But your phone can now be a mouse?
Right. You can use it for
stupid.
Extra controls. Like the example that they had, they were playing a video game, and the video game's going on a screen, and then there's extra controls for the game that are integrated into that touchpad. It seems kind of interesting.
That seems like just overly complicating a simple process.
No.
Yes.
No, you're getting more use out of your stuff. It's working together. I think it's kind of nifty.
No.
All right.
It's overcomplicating. Like you overcomplicated by stealing my damn remote control. Now I'm stuck watching this replay of this god awful loss. That's the one.
You have the
Continue.
Okay.
You just torture me now. Now you're just being evil.
All right.
Altered Carbon, Brian.
Altered Carbon, yeah. So we saw a trailer drop that's going to be on Netflix, a new cyberpunk series that's coming out. We got some audio from that, don't we?
We do. Here we go.
Your body is not who you are. You shed it like a snake sheds its skin. You transfer the human consciousness between bodies to live for eternal life.
How long have I been down?
250 years.
You are the property of Bancroft Industries. You've been provided with this body, which came equipped with military.
I could have turned it off 30 minutes.
And combat muscle memory.
I could have turned it off.
Mr. Kovacs, I didn't ask you to bring me back into this world.
Why are you being rude and talking over the clip,
What I ask
Brian?
of you is that you solve a murder. Whose? Mine.
Listen to this.
I thought you'd be bigger. They made me bring all this back up.
I thought you'd be bigger. do you know what that's from?
What's that?
Do you not know what that's from?
No.
I thought you'd be bigger?
No.
Roadhouse, Brian. Roadhouse.
Oh.
Roadhouse.
It's been a long time.
Patrick Swayze.
Yes.
You never forget your Roadhouse. Ever.
No,
Throat
but
punch.
there you go. I'm very excited to see when that comes out. It's pretty interesting. So
Yet again, it's Netflix.
Yeah.
I mean, Netflix is just laying the lumber to like Hollywood right now.
Well, and it's interesting. You know, last week we had the Golden Globes, right?
Right.
And a couple things that I wanted to point out was the Best TV Series, Musical, or Comedy, and also Best Actress went to The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. Did you ever catch that?
No, you told me about that.
I thought it was fantastic. It was really well done.
It was like a drama, though.
Well, I mean, it's a period piece. It's set kind of in the 50s. Well, the point is that it's Amazon.
Oh, okay. Well,
Right.
But it's not Man in the High Castle.
It's not Man in the High Castle, which I had kind of trouble with. Like, I didn't...
What is wrong with you?
Well, I watched most of the first season.
Okay.
It's a little bit slow. I went and tried to look up about the source material to kind of figure out where it's going. But even
Why would you do that?
Because I was trying to figure out where it was going.
Just enjoy it. You're like one of those god awful critics who's like, well, you know, it was dull in parts, and I had to check my beeper several times during the movie.
Well, I enjoyed what I saw, but it was a little slow. But it's interesting too. Hulu took away some Globes as well. That we're just all this streaming content is really coming to the forefront. I'm very excited to see all that.
The thing is that our friend Anthony Mackie is discussing that perhaps Hollywood heroes and stars and celebrities and movie stars are dying.
Yeah, you got a clip on that?
I do. Are you ready for it?
Yes.
Like, there are no movie stars anymore. Like, Anthony Mackie isn't a movie star. The Falcon is a movie star.
Preach.
And that's what's weird. It used to be with Tom Cruise and Will Smith and Stallone and Schwarzenegger. When you went to the movies, you went to go see the Stallone movie. You went to go see the Schwarzenegger movie. Now you go see X-Men. So the evolution of the superhero has meant the death of the movie star.
Now that he's right about, but I don't go see the X-Men because the X-Men movies suck. They just suck.
I don't completely agree with him because I do think that there still retains some amount of star power.
There's always going to be star power, but right now, as far as like the Marvel movies go, I mean, look, Evans is a great Captain America.
Absolutely.
You know, but I honestly think if they'd have put any Joe Blow schmo in there with you know, half decent good looks and the ability to string along a few words and make a sentence, probably would have done a pretty damn good job. You know, and it doesn't matter now. You know, he might be Captain America, but once he's out of a Marvel movie, like what was that, Snowpiercer or whatever?
Right.
That, you know, that he was Captain America in that, and he was not very good in that.
Okay.
You know, I mean, there's other things that he's done where he's been all right. But from now on, I mean, this is like the epitome of being like typecast as being the comic relief or, you're Captain America. You're not going to get past being Captain America anymore.
So do you think that only applies to comic book movies?
I think so.
Okay.
I think so because, I mean, it's very distinct. You know, I mean, I guess later on we'll talk about some monster movies and stuff like that, like the Dark Universe. I mean, they crapped to bed talking about Tom Cruise. I mean,
right.
Just Tom Cruise just needs to go somewhere else. Anyway.
Right, because he's not bringing in the numbers. Speaking of numbers,
yes,
because we're getting close to a break.
God, you are.
Yeah, we are. So this week saw the premiere of the Overwatch League. Close to 500,000 viewers on the opening night for that. And in conjunction, they have new skins available in the game for players.
Okay.
You can get these league tokens. You can buy extra, but they give you 100 for logging in during that deal, and you can get team skins. So that's pretty cool. But the Los Angeles Valiant, the London Spitfire, Seoul Dynasty, and the New York Excelsior, those 4 teams are 2-0 in this first week. The season runs for like 7 months, dude.
Why?
Well, there's going to be 4 brackets, 4 phases, and in each phase there's like 5 weeks of play, right? And then the top players from those phases will go on into a playoff series that'll culminate in some finals later on in the year. So
if you're in phase 1, you got to take the next 3 phases off with your mouse finger up your bum?
No, it's not like a one and done type deal. All these teams are going to keep playing, and then your score is going to culminate, right?
Oh, Brian, we have got to right now go buy stock in some sort of wrist thingy. There's going to be carpal tunnel issues. All these leaguers are going to have like thumbs falling off.
You know those little heat packets that you get for when it's cold?
Yeah.
Those guys,
warmers.
I was watching while they were playing. They were using them. All the players were using them.
Oh,
yeah.
See, some Tiger Balm.
Right.
We got to get in that. Will that arise a new level of like they have the people in sports medicine? Will we have like esports medicine?
Possibly. One last thing before we go to break. I wanted to mention that next Saturday on the 20th over at the Bad Wolf on the West Bank, that's Saturday, July 20th, $5 at the door to see 3 nerd rock bands. It's going to be the Consortium of Genius, Suzaku 7, and the Future Knots. So that's going to be a good time. I'm going to try to get out there and check those guys out.
Are they going to play Ghostbusters?
They could if we ask them.
I don't think they will.
Probably not.
Suzaku.
Yeah.
And not Consortium of Genius.
All right, guys.
I don't think they take requests.
Probably not. Guys, when we get back from this short break, we're going to bring in Ken Decker and Brett Morris from Composite FX to tell us all about the great stuff that they've been working on. Stay tuned. You're listening to The Week in Geek on News Talk 99.5 WRNO.
Who you gonna call? Ghostbusters! If there's something weird.
Jezebel Johnston, Devil's Handmaid by Nancy Hansen, is now an audiobook read for you by Brian Held. It's a tale of a young girl from Tortuga who disguises herself as a boy and bluffs her way onto a pirate ship, chasing after her one true love, only to find adventure on the high seas. Jezebel Johnston, Devil's Handmaid is available on Amazon, Audible, and iTunes. Get your copy of Jezebel Johnston today.
You've waited for it, and now it's here. Get your very own Week in Geek Radio Show t-shirt and help support our show. These 100% cotton black t-shirts with the Week in Geek Radio Show logo are going fast. So don't wait. Go to twigradio.com and order your shirt now. Just go to twigradio.com and get your very own Week in Geek Radio Show t-shirt. $15 up to XL, $17 for 2X and 3X. That's twigradio.com.
Are you looking for a unique gift or geeky item? Then look no further than Silverblatt Design. They offer unparalleled etched logos in glass or stainless steel from your favorite fandoms. Silverblatt Design etches on pint glasses, tumblers, shot glasses, flasks, and more. Having trouble finding a particular logo? Silverblatt Design does custom work and gets you exactly what you're looking for. Professional attitude, great customer service, and high-quality products are available now at Silverblatt Design. Find them on Facebook or Etsy and place your order today.
Do you have a message or logo that you need the world to see? Then rely on the folks at Gretna Signworks to use their expertise to deliver your design. With over 15 years in business, Gretna Signworks can do commercial and yard signs, banners, screen-printed t-shirts, magnetic signs, vehicle graphics and lettering, and so much more. Gretna Signworks also has an exceptional network of suppliers, so no job is out of scope. Find Gretna Signworks on Facebook or visit them at 2125 Bell Chase Highway today.
Friends, is your morning tea just not your cup of tea? Then try the tea blends of Viridian Tea Company. At Viridian Tea Company, they sell blends guaranteed to make you think outside the box. With such blends as My Enemy's Tears, Goth Librarian, Cyberpunk, and many more, your tea experience will be out of this world. Look for the blends at Tubby & Coo's Mid-City Bookshop, located at 631 North Carrollton, or on Etsy at Viridian Tea Company. Try Viridian Tea Company today. Your taste buds will thank you.
Now back to local celebrity, Brian Held. Hey, D Squared, meet me at the bar at 7 p.m. We'll have 2 drinks and then drink till 9 p.m. I'm already intoxicated. I hope there's a big taxi to take me home.
Welcome back, New Orleans. You're listening to The Week in Geek on News Talk 99.5 WRNO. I'm Brian Held with
D Squared and the drunk voice guy. I swear I'm going to fire his ass. This is the last time.
Well, it sounds like after
he keeps
tonight,
getting drunk on the job, man.
You need to go join him and have a few drinks.
In the big taxi to take us home.
Yeah. All right. So joining us in studio, representing 11 years in the prop making, mask making industry, it's Ken Decker, owner, and Brett Morris, general manager of Composite FX. Gentlemen, how you doing?
Good night. Great. How are you doing this evening?
Wonderful. So tell me, what is Composite FX? What is it that you guys do?
In a nutshell, I like to tell people that we make stuff. Right?
Okay.
And to expand on that a little bit, what we're most known for is kind of like a really high-end type of Halloween mask that most people don't even know exist. If you think back to the movie Mission Impossible, it's like a mask that you pull on over your face. It's made out of synthetic rubbers, picks up all the movements of your face, and it looks like a makeup job in seconds.
Right.
And it's something that lasts for decades. And really once you put it on, people have a really hard time not, telling that you're not wearing any makeup.
Yeah, it's a great substitute for, applied facial prosthetics.
Well, and it does absolutely make it easy. These are the silicone masks that we're talking about. You just pop it on. No additional accessories necessary. You can slap like clothing on over it, and it looks perfect. And it moves completely with your face, right?
And yeah, and one of the really fun things too is whenever we make the masks, they're all made to order, right? I mean, so we've got some masks that are sitting around stock waiting to be shipped out if that's what somebody wants. But the vast majority of the masks that we make, you pick up the phone. You say, hey, I like this style, but I want to have this tattoo, or I want it painted up this color, or can you use this paint pattern from this Alien movie on it?
Yeah, sometimes they want injuries added,
yeah,
so we can get gory.
So one of the things that I notice about these masks is when you put it on and you open your mouth or you kind of move around, the masks work with you, right? Like, how do you achieve that effect without tearing up and being realistic?
Well, I mean, it's just a lot of, I guess, industry research. So when we started making these masks, was back in the early 2000s, doing work for haunted houses. And as the years went on and the haunts got bigger and bigger, we needed a way to get more actors into makeup quicker. And also, too, we also ran into situations where maybe one makeup artist could work one night, but he couldn't work the next night. So we saw some consistency issues between the makeups that were applied. So there's kind of a need in the haunt industry for that makeup to be faster, more reliable, and more consistent. And these masks really kind of serve that need. And then once the haunt actors started playing around with them, they started wanting to take them home and asking, hey, can I buy that? Can do you only sell that to businesses? And it's like, no, we sell that to companies. And you fast forward 11 years, and we're actually one of the largest mask making companies in the world. We sell worldwide. I think the only continent we haven't shipped masks to is Antarctica.
Right. Yeah, but for the audience, if you think about going to a party store and you see a latex mask, that's a mask that has a big slit in the back. You pull it on over your head. It's very static.
Right.
It doesn't move with you.
And kind of flimsy.
Yeah.
And it's uncomfortable to wear.
It's uncomfortable to wear, and over time it'll start to rot.
Right.
And get crispy and break down. Using the silicone, we're able to create a piece that entirely covers the head, encapsulates the face, and the compression that results allows emotions to be conveyed properly. Cool.
Now, I mean, how do you start with a mask like this? I mean, we talked a little bit before the show, right? I mean, it's a sculpting process, right? I mean,
we start with clay, what we call monster clay.
Well, we start off with our core. So we've got a special in-house core that's kind of smaller than a human head in some dimensions, because we want the mask to stretch tight and fit on your face. And then it just goes through a traditional sculpting process. Clay is put on that. A mold is made from there.
We may have an idea for a creature or character design. We'll flesh that out with sketches or ZBrush.
Sometimes small maquettes are made.
Yep.
Okay.
And then we go full scale and start sculpting. And sometimes, we make changes along the way, or we see the character grow in our minds differently, and we maybe give it some different characteristics than we initially wanted.
Well, also, too, once the mold is made and, we have the final piece, there's a lot of instances where somebody will, pick up the phone and they want to order a mask, but they want something special to it. Or they my favorite one to always point out is one time I had a guy that wanted our spaceman mask. It's kind of like a robot.
It's a robot, Isaac the robot.
Yep. But they wanted a chimpanzee face, so he made a space ape kind of thing. So we took the face off of one mask and did some makeup magic, put that on the robot mask.
I mean, these are totally customizable because of the materials that we use.
Yep.
And one of the things we talked about earlier was that despite all the innovations in technology with like 3D printing and CNC processes and stuff, you're still kind of rocking it old school with the clay because it conveys more motion, it's better quality, right?
Right. Well, we actually used to have a 3D printer in-house because we thought that's the way that the industry was going. So we invested a lot in some really, really high-end 3D printing technology, and once we started using it, we started playing with it. It missed the bar. It definitely made something that was cool, but it couldn't go that last 10%. It couldn't get that last bit of detail that, our customers...
The human element. Right? The artist touch.
So we're talking with Ken Decker and Brett Morris from Composite FX. Now, we've talked about the masks, and we're talking about it from an individual aspect, right? You have a website out there. People can order masks and gloves, associated gloves, which makes it really cool. But that's not all you guys do. You also are very involved in the movie industry, and one of the things you're doing in Hollywood South down here is Preacher. Tell me about your work on that product.
Yeah, well, we started working with Preacher on season 1 when it was in shooting in Albuquerque. And we had gotten into some of the folks that were working on that show through other movies and whatnot. But yeah, every year that Preacher has shot, we've done all of their major prop work, and a lot of what we'll do is like stunt rubber props. The example that I used before, anytime you see like an actor. Maybe he's got guns and he's on a horse, or he's got swords or whatever. That can never be a hard object. That can't even be plastic. So that's got to be rubber. So we've got to make molds of all of that and make duplicates and rubber for the stunt team, for the guys on horseback. Incidentally, for the horseback stuff, they're more worried about hurting the horse than they are the actors.
Oh, I'll bet. Yeah.
So we have to mold everything that's a real object and then duplicate it as best we can, but in essentially Nerf form.
Okay.
So if you need a fire extinguisher to harm someone with, we use 10-pound.
But I mean, it still needs to be painted in such a way that the camera can read that and won't know the difference. And that's one of the reasons why when those guys use us, we've had them be in Hollywood, and order and overnight stuff back and forth from us, just because the work that we do is that on point.
Can I order a bunch of fire extinguishers? Just the
stash
around the building?
Absolutely.
We've got molds for that, actually. Yeah.
Yep.
All right, we're good. All right, moving on.
Thinking about anything else you might want duplicated.
That's actually really common implement for a stunt team to pick up off of the wall and hit somebody. So we've got oxygen tanks. We've even made railroad ties.
We've got some Nerf skulls if you're interested.
I need a stunt microphone to hit Brian with.
Perfect. We can do that.
Let's make it happen, Captain.
Nice. So, speaking of false objects or whatever, you've done food items as well.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Tell us about the oysters.
Right. So, I mean, everything that you see in a movie, right? You think that they got to do multiple takes. So that might mean that somebody's got to get hit over the head multiple times. They might need to hold up a heavy object multiple times. So we need to make things light, but also too, if you think about somebody sitting around a table and eating food,
right?
That's happening over multiple takes too. So sometimes we'll work with the catering department who handles anything food related on set. And we had the scene where they needed to eat a half dozen oysters. So these guys were having a conversation, and during the course of the take, they needed to eat a half dozen oysters.
Right.
And they needed to do 6 or 10 takes of that. So they can't have the guys eat 60 oysters. Like it's. So we actually wound up making some oysters out of Jell-O, or we came up with a formula, and we have to invent all this stuff,
right.
as we're going. And they had to make some. We had to make some oysters out of Jell-O, so they could eat them not only from a standpoint of that nobody wants to eat that many oysters, but also the safety aspect of the production company doesn't want the liability of.
Food poisoning,
right? From shellfish
like
or whatever. Yeah.
So we actually we just made some molds of scorpion peppers in the shop for a chili eating contest scene. Because presumably they'll have to eat several or do several takes.
But they'll be delicious chocolate.
Yeah, the chili, the actual things that they eat will be made out of chocolate.
But what they did, Dave, is they subjected some of their,
No, we did not subject them.
They signed all the proper paperwork.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Stunt candy?
No, some of their employees took the peppers out after the mold and
Scorpion
they ate
peppers.
them.
Oh, hell no.
Yeah, that was Friday.
You'll want to see that video.
It's on our Facebook page.
All right, I enjoy watching other people's
and we did that live. So.
They did, absolutely. All right, we're getting close to a break, right?
Sure, what the hell.
All right, guys, we're going to take a break. When we get back, we're going to continue our conversation with Ken Decker and Brett Morris from Composite FX. Stay tuned. You're listening to The Week in Geek on News Talk 99.5 WRNO.
Jezebel Johnston, Devil's Handmaid by Nancy Hansen, is now an audiobook read for you by Brian Held. It's a tale of a young girl from Tortuga who disguises herself as a boy and bluffs her way onto a pirate ship, chasing after her one true love, only to find adventure on the high seas. Jezebel Johnston, Devil's Handmaid is available on Amazon, Audible, and iTunes. Get your copy of Jezebel Johnston today.
You've waited for it, and now it's here. Get your very own Week in Geek Radio Show t-shirt and help support our show. These 100% cotton black t-shirts with the Week in Geek Radio Show logo are going fast. So don't wait. Go to TWIGradio.com and order your shirt now. Just go to TWIGradio.com and get your very own Week in Geek Radio Show t-shirt. $15 up to XL, $17 for 2X and 3X. That's TWIGradio.com.
Are you looking for a unique gift or geeky item? Then look no further than Silverblatt Design. They offer unparalleled etched logos in glass or stainless steel from your favorite fandoms. Silverblatt Design etches on pint glasses, tumblers, shot glasses, flasks, and more. Having trouble finding a particular logo? Silverblatt Design does custom work and gets you exactly what you're looking for. Professional attitude, great customer service, and high-quality products are available now at Silverblatt Design. Find them on Facebook or Etsy and place your order today.
Do you have a message or logo that you need the world to see? Then rely on the folks at Gretna Signworks to use their expertise to deliver your design. With over 15 years in business, Gretna Signworks can do commercial and yard signs, banners, screen-printed t-shirts, magnetic signs, vehicle graphics and lettering, and so much more. Gretna Signworks also has an exceptional network of suppliers, so no job is out of scope. Find Gretna Signworks on Facebook or visit them at 2125 Bell Chase Highway today.
Friends, is your morning tea just not your cup of tea? Then try the tea blends of Viridian Tea Company. At Viridian Tea Company, they sell blends guaranteed to make you think outside the box. With such blends as My Enemy's Tears, Goth Librarian, Cyberpunk, and many more, your tea experience will be out of this world. Look for the blends at Tubby & Coo's Mid-City Bookshop, located at 631 North Carrollton, or on Etsy at Viridian Tea Company. Try Viridian Tea Company today. Your taste buds will thank you.
Welcome back to The Week in Geek. Don't forget, you can listen to previous episodes on the iHeartRadio app at The Week in Geek Radio Show. Here are your hosts, D Squared and Brian Held.
Welcome back. This is The Week in Geek. I'm your host, D Squared with
Brian Held.
All right, Brian, let's continue this conversation, man.
Yes, we're talking with Ken Decker and Brett Morris from Composite FX out in Baton Rouge. So, as we were discussing all this prop building stuff and then the movie industry itself, you guys have some interesting stories. You mentioned having to invent a lot of the things that you do because it doesn't exist. You have to create all of these new techniques. And one of the things you did was with the Mississippi River Sharks show. Yeah. And tell me about this fin that you created.
Well, actually, I think that was for that show. It was Ozark Shark.
Okay.
We work with a company that shoots a lot of stuff for sci-fi and whatnot, and they really enjoy doing these sharks movies. And so we made, and to my knowledge, it's the world's first.
Okay.
Fully submersible, full size, untethered, remote controlled shark fin.
Natural speed.
So it goes fast enough that it'll throw spray up off the top of the fin. So and they've been trying to do this since they made Jaws.
Wow.
They actually had a team of about 12 to 13 people working for 6 months trying to do this.
Okay.
Back in the day, and they were never able to do it. But
nice.
They pay no attention to the man behind the curtain.
No, that's great. So you mentioned it functions like a drone, right? It's got a camera integrated into it?
Well, no, it does not have a camera. The send and receive system has transmits enough data so that it can support a camera. It's not necessarily driven. It's more like flown, because the operator has to control the it's what we call a dynamic diving system. So it only dives when it's moving forward, like a real shark. So the camera or the controller has to control the speed forward, control the left and right, and then also control the depth that the fin is going underwater. And there's a lot of scenes where he's got to the script calls for the fin to pop up, come up to the boat and then dive down right before it gets the boat. So the operator, for every minute that you see the fin in the water, there's probably an hour of practice that's gone into lining up that shot and making that happen.
It seems to me that y'all have missed out on a lot of practical joke applications to all these things. Everything you've talked about right now, I'm thinking of some way I can ruin someone's life.
We did run it in the bayou down here.
Yeah, we actually, whenever anybody comes to work with us, that's one of the things that's in the employee contract, and it's like a separate page that they sign because they're super serious about it.
Okay.
If you fake an injury at the shop, it's an immediate termination.
Oh, really? Well, yeah,
because we've got so many blood products and so many ways to fake a good injury that we need to treat everything as though.
Well, that makes sense. I'm talking about the normal people, outside the shop. I'm just talking about just general mayhem across the
What makes you
city.
think we don't?
I don't know, but if you're doing it, I want in.
Now, aside from just, general silliness and mayhem in the shop, your masks have both good and potentially nefarious applications.
Absolutely, yeah.
So let's start with the good. Tell me a good story about the use of one of your masks.
So we started off with we had a mask, like an old man mask. It's just a generic kind of old guy mask,
like
and just like Brian, actually, not so scary. But I got a call one day from this guy, and he's like, he's in tears, and they're happy tears. And he told me about that he had just gone to the mailbox to greet the mailman and get his mail during the day for the first time in over 6 years.
Wow.
And he went on to explain that he was in a car accident and was disfigured by a fire. And, as a result of that, he was always afraid of, really scaring kids in the neighborhood or, just drawing stares and hated that. So our masks allowed him to do that. So from that, we launched a line of real people masks, or I guess regular people
Natural
masks.
humans.
Yeah. That we've done a lot of work in the that sort of industry to kind of help people give I don't want to say dignity, but just give them a sense of normalcy to be able to go buy groceries or go to a coffee shop or whatever. And our masks move so well with your face that going to a bar with your friends and having a beer wearing one of these masks isn't a problem.
You just can't tell. It seems like another normal human.
It's a second skin.
Yep.
Wow, no, but that's great. Now, of course.
Nefarious.
Yeah, let's go to February 14th, 2013, New York City.
Valentine's Day?
Valentine's Day.
Yeah, Valentine's Day heist.
Was it three guys?
Three guys.
Three guys wearing three of our masks with like facial hair punched in, because we'll punch hairs one at a time and do eyebrows and facial hair and whatnot.
Beards.
Whatever the customer orders, and they walk in and they knock over a Wells Fargo,
$200,000.
Yep.
And dressed as cops.
Really?
Yep. Yeah, and no one reported. They reported three white guys as committing the crime.
Yep.
But
nobody knew that they were in masks.
Nobody knew that they were in masks. No. My favorite robbery story that we have is this guy, we call him the $60 Bandit, or he's known as the $60 Bandit, because he walks in wearing one of our masks and he demands all the 20s, 40s, 60s, and 80s.
Okay.
So the teller told him, she said, "Look, I don't have. I'm out of the 60s and the 40s. Can I just give you hundreds?" And he says, "Yeah, that's cool." So he gets a die pack and goes out the bank, and the die pack explodes. And the kid would have gotten away with it. Because he had, he changed his look so much that somebody else's mom actually called and turned her son in, thinking that was him.
Oh, jeez.
But he got busted when the cop stopped him for like a taillight.
Right.
And saw the shirt with the die pack in the back of his car and found the mask in the glove compartment. Up until then, the cops were looking for a totally different ethnicity altogether.
Man.
Wow.
Why do we have to have them on the show? We should have talked to them outside of being on the radio, Brian.
Well, I've been talking to him for the past couple
Brian
hours.
has. Yeah, Brian. You should have had dinner with us.
I'm going to call 911.
What's the number?
Are you sure that's Brian?
It's 20, 40, 60, 80.
Right.
Awesome. Well, how can folks keep up with you guys? How can they obviously buy your masks? Give us the website, the social media, all that good stuff.
Yeah, so you can find us online at either compositeeffects.com or
spelled out entirely,
or just very simply cfxmasks.com. That's Charlie Foxtrot X-ray masks.com. We're very active on Facebook. We're there every day. And you can also find us on Twitter and Instagram as well.
Nice. And what's the next big event that y'all are going to be at with a big booth presence?
Well, the next show that we're going to is the Haunt Attraction show in St. Louis. That's towards the end of March. And then after that, we start gearing up for San Diego Comic-Con in July.
Fantastic. And I know that you guys always have cool stuff in the works, a lot of irons in the fire, and y'all are going to let us know as soon as you've got some exclusive stuff to get out there, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Fantastic.
Yep. Did y'all get any more pins? Because I got an exclusive pin at House of Shot.
We do actually. We have two more styles that are coming, and you can go on our website and go on the pin page on the website and see the
Brian, did you get one yet?
No.
Oh.
Yeah, everybody who's going to the site, too.
Anybody
we've got movement
gets
videos.
One.
Yeah, well, I can't get everything.
Well, you can hit me with that there fire extinguisher later.
Fantastic. All right, we got to cut out?
Sure. Yeah, we got about a minute.
All right. Well, guys, when we get back from this break,
we want to strongly urge you to
Yes.
check out our Facebook page, facebook.com/The Week in Geek. Check out our website at twigradio.com. Follow us on Twitter at Twig Radio and the Instagram's The Week in Geek. Now, Brian, how can people listen to this lovely show?
well, once we're off the air, we're going to host this on Spreaker.com, or you can download Spreaker for your smartphone or tablet. We're also on iTunes, YouTube, Google Play, iHeartRadio, and at WRNO.com. So,
Absolutely. Good job.
Oh, yeah. So, guys, when we get back from this break, we are going to have our interview that we conducted earlier this week with New York Times and USA Today bestselling author Pierce Brown of the Red Rising series. And that's going to close out the show for us.
And I like him better than you.
I know you do.
I always like I like anybody better than you. All right, guys, stay tuned. We'll be right back after these short commercial messages. You're listening to The Week in Geek on News Talk 99.5 WRNO. You've waited for it, and now it's here. Get your very own Week in Geek Radio Show t-shirt and help support our show. These 100% cotton black t-shirts with the Week in Geek Radio Show logo are going fast. So don't wait. Go to twigradio.com and order your shirt now. Just go to twigradio.com and get your very own Week in Geek Radio Show t-shirt. $15 up to XL, $17 for 2X and 3X. That's twigradio.com.
Jezebel Johnston, Devil's Handmaid by Nancy Hansen, is now an audiobook read for you by Brian Held. It's a tale of a young girl from Tortuga who disguises herself as a boy and bluffs her way onto a pirate ship, chasing after her one true love, only to find adventure on the high seas. Jezebel Johnston, Devil's Handmaid is available on Amazon, Audible, and iTunes. Get your copy of Jezebel Johnston today.
Do you have a message or logo that you need the world to see? Then rely on the folks at Gretna Signworks to use their expertise to deliver your design. With over 15 years in business, Gretna Signworks can do commercial and yard signs, banners, screen-printed t-shirts, magnetic signs, vehicle graphics and lettering, and so much more. Gretna Signworks also has an exceptional network of suppliers, so no job is out of scope. Find Gretna Signworks on Facebook or visit them at 2125 Bell Chase Highway today.
Friends, is your morning tea just not your cup of tea? Then try the tea blends of Viridian Tea Company. At Viridian Tea Company, they sell blends guaranteed to make you think outside the box. With such blends as My Enemy's Tears, Goth Librarian, Cyberpunk, and many more, your tea experience will be out of this world. Look for the blends at Tubby & Coo's Mid-City Bookshop, located at 631 North Carrollton, or on Etsy at Viridian Tea Company. Try Viridian Tea Company today. Your taste buds will thank you.
Welcome back to The Week in Geek. Don't forget, you can listen to previous episodes on the iHeartRadio app at The Week in Geek Radio Show. Here are your hosts, D Squared and Brian Held.
Welcome back, New Orleans. You're listening to The Week in Geek on News Talk 99.5 WRNO. This is Brian Held with
D Squared.
And on the line, we have with us New York Times and U.S. Today best-selling author Pierce Brown. How are you, sir?
I am doing great. How are you guys doing today?
We're fantastic, man. So you have a new book coming out, but before we get to that book, let's kind of set the stage. You have been writing for, honestly, a very short period of time. Your first book came out, that was Red Rising. It came out in 2014, right?
That's right, yeah.
And it's, Dave and I were talking before the show, it's like a novel a year, man.
Yeah, well, you know, it tends to happen when you're writing in secret and you're afraid to even show your friends because you're afraid your writing is terrible. So you get the practice in before you actually publish, and then it all seems to kind of spiral really fast out of your control. So we've done, a book in 2014, another one in 2015, then 2016. And this one, unfortunately, took me 2 years, mostly because it's a little bit longer than the other series.
So now you weren't really planning on starting another trilogy after the Red Rising, were you?
No, I wasn't. So Red Rising, for those of you who haven't read it, is about a young man fighting or starting a war for his people in a society where the planets of the solar system have been colonized and terraformed. And he's the bottom of this society, and he's one of the workers who has pretty much toiled in order to terraform these worlds, and he becomes a inside man, a plant, kind of a spy within the upper tier of the society, and that's what the original trilogy is about. And obviously, I've always been captivated by the question of how the story ends after the tyrannical regime is destroyed. In Star Wars, for instance, I was always fascinated. What happens after Palpatine dies? What happens after the second Death Star is destroyed? And, I was lucky and fortunate enough that we have, 250 expanded universe books that I was able to read when I was a kid. And what I wanted to do with Iron Gold is really dive into that question of what happens in a power vacuum after you defeat your foe.
Cool. So the caste systems that you have set up, we were talking about that. How do they differentiate? Is it eye color? Is it their clothing? How does that work out?
It's varied. It's. I mean, the eye color, of course, they have the Reds who are at the bottom of the society, Golds who are at the top, and there's obviously a physical difference between these two extremes. Golds generally are above 6.5 feet or 7 feet tall, and are real physical specimens. If you've seen Michelangelo's David, then you understand what a Gold looks like.
Okay.
Reds are accompanied at the bottom end of the spectrum by pinks, browns, and obsidians. Obsidians is a warrior race of people that are, imagine like a Mongolian cross with a Viking, and you have an obsidian. And generally, they're not walking around in society at coffee shops. But they have a more rhinoceros hide type face. But the others are pretty human. You have your blues who command starships, and they're very ethereal in quality and also have been raised in low gravity or no gravity. Most of their lives, their bones have grown to reflect that. So they have a more avian build, longer arms, legs, and kind of extended torsos. So visually, these people look very much like humans, but affected by the environments in which they grow up in, particularly the Reds, who are generally 5'5", maybe beneath that, and have very pale complexions because they're usually underground mining.
Interesting. Now, tell me, you seem to be a student of history because there's a lot of influence of Rome in these books, right?
Yeah, there is. I mean, I was fortunate enough and kind of cursed as a kid to get my first coloring book was the Trojan War. I was coloring in all the shields, with purple and pink, and my dad thought it was a little bit historically inaccurate, but my parents seeded in me this love of history when I was really young, and it was reflected by the books they gave me. I had discovered this great series when I was a kid, the Great Classics Abridged. So it's these like Tale of Two Cities, Count of Monte Cristo, but told so that a 9-year-old could understand it.
Okay.
And I kind of ripped through those when I was a kid. And a lot of them focused on Greek plays or things that revolved around ancient Rome. So, of course, you write what you know, and that kind of breathed life into the story when I realized that I wanted to bring Roman history to the stars and basically bring mythology and science fiction into a story and kind of blend them together.
Now, you bring up a very good point. You say, you write what you know, and you're a political science major, yet you're a writer. How does that major affect your writing style and what's in these stories?
Well, unless you guys studied communications, what did you study in high school, actually, or at college, I mean?
Well, Dave is...
I was a music major, so
right.
I studied the arts. What can I say?
And I was IT, so...
Okay, so a lot of that can inform what you go on to fall in love with, but I find that I didn't fall in love with what I really want to do in high school or college. The way the scholastic system is set up is it's really hard to find what you love, before you're 22. And so political science and economics have kind of informed my understanding of the Red Rising world because I'm able to bring those lessons from the classroom into application way more than I was able to bring those lessons into application in the real world. And so there's this real base of political science and Machiavellian politics and even modern politics in Red Rising, which makes it really fun. Because, if you read a book just about war, it gets pretty tedious really fast because what's interesting in stories to me is the clash of personalities. Two people want different things or maybe the same thing. And seeing how they go about getting it. That's what makes Game of Thrones so interesting to me, is what people covet and then seeing them in rooms together having to work it out in very violent ways. Essentially, this is like the Red Rising world is essentially one big, family party where everyone wants to be head of the family. And
Right.
so you have all these devious tactics that everyone uses in order to achieve that.
So I think a really important question, and this applies a lot to series, is so you've got your first three books. It's Red Rising, Golden Sun, and Morning Star, and now here we have Iron Gold coming out. Is Iron Gold a good launching point for new readers coming into this series, or should they go back and start at the beginning?
I think they will behoove them to really start with Red Rising, because you'll understand the texture of the world better. You'll understand the foundation that Iron Gold is built on. Now, Iron Gold is also friendly to new readers, but the whole breadth of the experience would be like someone joining Star Wars with The Force Awakens.
Yes,
and I think that's you rob yourself a lot of the mythology if you don't start at the beginning.
Yeah, I see. I kind of jumped in on Iron Gold because we got the advanced copy, and one thing I was able to really kind of transfer into it. I just had some of those mental images where I was lost on because I didn't read the first three.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I got to tell you, man, your ability to turn simile and metaphor, it was weird. Like, I haven't seen such deft use of those words in a while. Like, you were giving like human qualities to like the wind. It was really unnerving and cool at the same time, man.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. I think that any big sci-fi or fantasy world, it's difficult maybe to comprehend unless you can take it on real personal terms. And so as I write and as I've grown as a writer, I mean, I've realized that the best tool I have is the reader's mind. Mm-hmm. It's basically an unlimited budget. And if I can paint a picture in a way that relates to the individual reading so they can feel it in some human way, then I find that it's easier to broach those huge subjects of interstellar war or politics with 18 billion people, spread out through the solar system, because those are big ideas. So I try to make it as personal as possible.
So let me ask, there's one more kind of addendum to the whole series, is that there is a comic book series out, Red Rising, Sons of Ares, right?
That's true, yes, sir.
And that's a prequel to this series, right?
It's a prequel, yeah. The way the Red Rising world is constructed, with hopefully very interesting side characters, secondary characters, tertiary characters, there's a lot of stories you can follow. And what I wanted to follow was the birth of the freedom-fighting / terrorist movement that really incited the events of Red Rising. So Red Rising is a story about one person being selected by a terrorist organization and to be their chosen inside man. And what I want to do is trace the roots, the emotional roots, of why that organization began. What injustice spawned this uprising? Because a lot of times in history, you can trace, you can't trace the seismic shifting of history you can trace it to multiple events, but a lot of times there's one thing that really sparks something. And what I want to do is concentrate on the sparks. And so that's what the Red Rising series is. It's concentrating on the sparks in this kind of grand tapestry. So, Sons of Ares goes back and looks at the founding of this terrorist organization and really tries to humanize it and tries to make more depth in the world so that the Red Rising reading experience is more fun and has more texture.
No, that's fantastic. Now, your book, Iron Gold, that's the latest in your series. That's going to be on newsstands January 16th, right?
Yes, comes out 16th.
All right.
I strongly urge people to read it, and actually I've already gone back and got the other books, so I'm going to start reading the first trilogy. I mean, I was able to jump in on this, and I enjoyed the hell out of it, and so actually I'm looking forward to actually starting to fill in some of the gaps that were in my mind, and but I give it 2 thumbs up.
Yeah, definitely. Now, Mr. Brown, how can folks follow you, find you out there on the net, keep up with your series?
So I am on Instagram at Pierce Brown Official. I'm also on the Twitters at Pierce_Brown. And the best way to get updates and things like that is either to follow one of those two things or go to piercebrownbooks.com and see if I'm coming to your area in a book tour or signing. It's the easiest way to keep track of me, pretty much. Unless you want to get my mom's cell phone number, but I don't think she knows where I am most of the time.
Right, and the closest place you're going to get to New Orleans is you're going to be in Austin, Texas on Monday, January 22nd at Book People, right?
Yeah, but now after this radio show, I feel a little bad that we're not coming to New Orleans. So I think I got to step my game up next time.
Yeah,
absolutely.
We'll have to make it happen.
We can make it happen. We know all the booksellers here, man.
Absolutely.
We'll have our people.
Let's do it. Yeah. Hopefully by that time, we'll be able to talk the original trilogy, too.
Hell yeah.
Awesome.
We'll have our people call your people.
There you go. Mr. Brown,
I love it.
Thank you so much for taking the time tonight.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. Fun interview.
Awesome. Hang on for 1 second. Guys, just so you know, Iron Gold pre-order prize, if you screenshot your receipt and send it in to Random House Books by January 16th, you'll get an exclusive art print from Random House while supplies last, so go check that out. All right.
There you go. All right, Brian. So that was good.
Oh, yeah. No, great interview with Pierce Brown. All right. So, guys, tune in next week.
What's going on next week?
Our guest is going to be Pharaoh Kane, a comic book creator. We met him at Wizard World, so that should be a very interesting interview there.
Nicely
and
done.
all the normal shenanigans. We'll have Scungy back for his pick of the week and all that good. No, I love Scungy.
Sure you do. You love anybody who loves you.
Oh, come on now.
All right, guys. Is that it? We're good?
We're good.
All right, well, till next time, keep your nerd flag raised high.
GFL.
Your new home for Walton and Johnson. News Talk 99.5 WRNO FM, New Orleans, an iHeart radio station.